From the Media Innovation Center, welcome to the Spring 2019 premiere of OWTV News. 12 years after his murder, Sean Bell's widow visits our campus to discuss injustice and ongoing police brutality. The softball team remembers one of their own after a long battle with cancer. A look at how recent increase of ICE arrests is affecting Old Westbury's undocumented students. It's February, and Old Westbury celebrated Black History Month with a number of memorable events. Facts on faculty, a profile piece on Media and Communications professor Lisa M. Payne. And finally, in the spirit of Black History Month, how spoken word highlights Black history, Black excellence, and Black achievement. Good day, and welcome to OWTV News. I'm Malika Noble.
And I'm Saborne Judge. We start first with some breaking national news. On Sunday, Alabama and Georgia have experienced deadly tornadoes that have killed already 23 people. The tornadoes had wind speeds of 170 miles per hour and up. The damages are catastrophic, and many people had only 5 minutes warnings before it occurred. FEMA is now involved to help locals with refuge and damage control. Alika?
Minneapolis daycare provider who hung a toddler in November of 2016 was recently sentenced to probation after facing a 13-year prison sentence. The former daycare provider, Natalie Chiara, was sentenced to 10 years probation on Monday for hanging a toddler in her daycare and running over 2 men with her minivan before attempting suicide. All of the victims in the incident had survived their injuries. Chiara had pleaded guilty to attempted murder and criminal vehicular operation. Chiara's attorney argued the cause was due to mental illness brought on by abuse. Chiara has issued an apology stating, "I apologize and don't know if you will be able to forgive me. I have no excuse for what I did." Subordinate?
At 1 p.m., a man was shot by another man at IHOP in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. Allegedly, there was a dispute between 2 different groups at the restaurant. When one of the groups got up to leave, 2 men from the different groups shared words, resulting in one of the men being shot multiple times by the other man. The victim was rushed to Stony Brook University Hospital and went into emergency surgery. Police has the offender in custody. Alika?
A woman is accused of attacking workers and biting one of them while trying to steal merchandise from a clothing store in Nassau yesterday. 35-year-old Shannon Zeke was arrested Monday at Saks off 5th Ave on Old Country Road in Old Westbury. She is now in custody and is being charged with assault and robbery. And now for news happening on your campus. English professor Dr. Jacqueline Emery earns a prestigious literature award. Dr. Emery is an assistant professor in the English department at SUNY Old Westbury. Recently had her book Recovering Native American Writings in the Boarding School Press, earning the 2018 Outstanding Academic Title Award from the Publishing Unit for the Association of College and Research Libraries. Dr. Emery states, "I am delighted that my book was selected for this award. I hope the book enters more college libraries and spurs interest in the Native American writers and texts it features." Subordinate?
On the brighter side of things, due to inclement weather on Sunday evening, all morning classes were canceled on Monday. Any classes after 1 p.m. were resumed. That means for students like myself, who only had classes on Monday morning, got to have a day of relaxation. Alika?
The Black Student Union hosted Celebrating Sean Bell in honor of Black History Month, and the Old Westbury community came out to hear Nicole Paltry Bell speak out against ongoing police brutality and social injustice. Our very own Subordinate Judge has the story.
In recognition of Black History Month, SUNY Old Westbury's Black Student Union held a forum to discuss continued police brutality in the African American community. The event featured key speaker Nicole Paltry Bell, fiance of Sean Bell, an African American man who was slain by police in 2006, the night before his wedding. Since Sean's death, Nicole Paltry Bell has dedicated her life to activism.
Also, the importance of speaking up and standing up is sort of what I've had in my background growing up as a child. Never in a million years would I think that at some point I would have to end up fighting for justice.
Bell says what happened to her fiancé on the night of his bachelor party was unjustified and he was an innocent target.
This is not a white man in South Jamaica in the middle of the night. This was a black minority with a fitted cap, blending in, drinking at the club, pointing his gun at Sean and his friends right after an argument. At the end of the day, 50 shots were fired. Sean was killed. My daughters were left without a father.
The audience was captivated by the details of the tragedy and the strength of her leadership.
Some of the lessons that I hope that people will learn from what happened to Sean is that we can't continue to go silent when things happen in our communities. Not only our loved ones, but in our communities. We have to find a way where we can reach out and stick together.
Belle says there's so much more she wants people to know about Sean than the night of his death.
He loved to have a good time. He loved family. He loved to just get dressed. He was, you know, someone who really took pride in just the way he looked. He loved to play baseball. He was just an all-around good guy.
How do you think that we can address the whole police brutality situation?
Yeah. Activism is a very strong way of attacking police brutality. I encourage people to reach out to an organization. If you don't see an organization that speaks to you, create an organization. I started a nonprofit in 2007 after Sean was killed, and with that nonprofit I was able to do great things.
From the Recital Hall and Campus Center, I'm Saborne Judge, OWTV News. After a battle with cancer, softball star player Madeline Bowen passed away at the beginning of the fall semester. Marvin Agueta takes a deeper look on how the team is coping and remembering their teammate.
Old Westbury student athlete Madeline Bowen passed away from cancer on October 6, 2018. She was a player that still remained in the hearts of her teammates of the SUNY Old Westbury softball team.
She had a saying, it's called nevertheless persist. That's what her saying was.
Old Westbury head coach Rich Borowski fondly remembers Maddie and her self-determination. It was not easy for some players to take the news of Maddie's passing.
And I found out probably one of the hardest days.
Maddie's softball teammates say they felt the hole left behind by Maddie's passing, but have a lot of memories, both good and bad.
Like, had such a dry sense of humor, and like just a way to like say something that she was clearly annoyed about, but make you laugh, and you should be annoyed at her, but you're laughing because she's just so funny.
There's one fine memory that Coach Borowski can never forget of Maddie.
I'll never forget it for as long as I live. We're up in one game, last inning, and I leaned over to her and I said, what do you think? How about an at-bat? Can you do it? Are you strong enough? She said, yes. Got up at the bat, crowd, home field, crowd is just calling her name. Teammates are just like on fire, tears down their eyes, tears down everybody's eyes. And then it's like the heavens open up and she smacked a single.
Heading into the new softball season, the coach has big expectation of his team, and it seems to be rallying on his star player.
She knows we have the ability to get to the conference championships and actually win in the conference championship.
From the Clark Athletic Center, I'm Marvin Argueta, Old Westbury TV.
Undocumented students find the courage to speak out against increased ICE arrests that are affecting them terribly. Crystal Garces dug deeper to find out their bigger struggles.
This is Crystal Garces of OWTV News. My report today gets close and personal with Old West DACA students to hear their concerns and fears in light of the recent increase in ICE arrests.
It's one thing to be an immigrant, but then it's another thing to be an undocumented immigrant, which you face a whole other set of obstacles where pretty much your humanity isn't really valued.
From 2017 to 2018, there was a 35% increase in ICE arrests in the New York region alone. Manuela Hurtado shared with me her feelings towards the increase of ICE arrests.
It's always been scary with all the administrations. I think with this one, what made it so scary is when you have a president publicly saying and targeting specifically undocumented immigrants and calling them rapists and calling them criminals and calling them all these things that are not true. Then having him increase those ICE raids, it was very scary.
Dr. Laura Anker, a distinguished professor at SUNY College at Old Westbury and advocate for immigrants' rights issues, share why DACA students shouldn't be scared about ICE warrants.
ICE uses warrants which are called administrative warrants. That means they're not a warrant from a court. And actually, the Attorney General in New York has said that those are not valid warrants. They're not arrest warrants which say that you've committed a crime. That's a warrant that's been given out from a court. so that they don't need to answer those warrants, but those fears are here. So information is a major.
Although Manuela is currently fearful with the ramp-up of recent arrests of undocumented immigrants, she still says she still has hope that New York officials will protect her.
I think I should definitely feel a lot safer here. Then I think they should be doing a lot more than they are, because we are New York, and I think if there's one thing that is true is that New York is where all of the immigrants came.
Dr. Anker says in spite of this, DACA students can feel very safe at SUNY College at Old Westbury.
The school will not allow ICE on campus, and we provide advice. We've brought legal aid here so that students can get legal advice if they need. I'm trying to think of what other things we might have provided, but I think the most important thing is a really good education and the promise of a future and a welcoming environment.
I haven't done anything for anybody to say that I should get out, or I haven't committed any felony, any crime, and neither have my parents. So I think it's just knowing your rights.
Crystal Garces of OWTV News.
Now, with the latest in entertainment news with Judith Amaro.
A 12-year-old rapper, Corey J., also known as Little Cino, is facing felony charges for allegedly selling his CDs in a Georgia mall. The young boy was arrested back in October and is now appearing in the Cobb County Courthouse to defend himself against his current felony charges, which are disorderly conduct with violence, criminal trespassing, and obstruction. Corey's attorney has denied all charges, claiming when he was there, he was not selling his CDs. His aunt filmed the entire altercation. The video quickly went viral. Story still pending. The brothers Ola and Abel Osandario have recently issued an apology for their involvement in the Jussie Smollett case. The brothers that have been tied to the incident have released a set apology through their lawyer. The statement read, "My clients have tremendous regret over their involvement in the situation, and they understand how it has impacted people across the nation, particularly minority communities, and especially those who have been victims of hate crimes themselves." And finally, BET's Social Media Awards 2019 took place on Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia, and many artists and influencers took home wins. The City Girls took home the It's a Wave Award, Super Scent took home Social Hustle Award, Cardi B took home the Best Celeb, followed by Soulja Boy took home Social Verified Award. J. Cole took home the LMAO Award. Sean King took home the Social Movement Award. Many performances by Blueface Danile and much more. Back to you, Subordinate.
It's February. It's Black History Month, and the Old Westbury community hosted memorable events. Amber Green has the latest on the best events that were thrown.
SUNY Old Westbury, to celebrate the rich history and culture behind the month, many clubs and groups organized different events for students and faculty to enjoy. The Black Student Union put together a vibrant Apollo Night this year that gave many students the opportunity to showcase a variety of talents. From singing to dancing and everything in between, Old Westbury students kept the crowd entertained and filled with energy.
Really yourself, you shift who you're friends with, you watch who you're messed with, and you relocate your direction.
Apollo Night is named and framed after the historical Apollo Theater, which got its reputation from its cutthroat crowd and ability to make or break a performer. The crowd was fearless in holding back their reactions, whether it be applause or boos. Monique Campbell was one student that braved the stage and earned the audience's approval with her poem, Let's Break the Ice.
Feeling is always the inspiration. However I feel, I try to communicate it in the best way, through the wordplay, through the syllables, through the rhyme patterns.
The American Studies Department and the Black History Committee put together another great event during the month of February. Dr. Jermaine Archer held an open lecture, Frederick Douglass Legacies, which centered on Douglass's slave narratives and how they relate to how we tell our stories today.
It's my hope that people really understand that Douglass was an important figure in really trying to change the status quo during the 1800s, and that if we think about how we carve out our own identity, how we brand ourselves, to use a sort of more contemporary current term, how we carve out the identities of our communities, Douglas has so many lessons to offer.
I'm Amber Green with OWTV News. Marvin Agueta is with us with the latest on the pros and on-campus sport.
Our women's basketball team finally concluded their season with a fourth straight 20-win season, but failed to reach the Skyline Conference Championship semifinals for the first time in 4 seasons after a shocking home loss to 6th seed Farmingdale State Rams 60-59. On the men's side, they fell to Yashima University 103-70. Yashima University have won 4 straight over the Panthers. Finally, the Panthers are now 3-2 against the defending champion dating back to the 2003-2004 season. The New York Knicks lost to the Los Angeles Clippers 128-107 on Sunday. The Knickerbockers are now 13 wins and 50 losses, tied with the worst record in the NBA with the Phoenix Suns. In hockey, the New York Rangers lost on Sunday against the Washington Capitals 3-2. The Rangers today are on the road against the Dallas Stars at 8:30 p.m. As for the New York Islanders, they lost against the Philadelphia Flyers 4-1. The Islanders are now currently in 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division. Lastly, in soccer, the New York Red Bulls tied 1-1 against the Columbus Crew on their season opener on Saturday. The New York City FC season without David Villa also began with a draw against Orlando City Soccer Club. Back to you, subordinate. That's all for sports.
On this month's Facts on Faculty, we are highlighting SUNY Old Westbury's Media and Communications professor, Lisa Payton. Alika Noble takes a look at the professor's background and professional achievements.
In this month's Facts on Faculty profile, we take a closer look into one of our very own, Media and Communications professor Lisa M. Payton. Talks about her past and her present experiences in the media world.
I'm Professor Lisa Payton. I'm a visiting assistant professor in the American Studies Department, Media and Communications major. I teach writing for media, mass media and pop culture, women and media, and I also work in the first year department. I teach ethics of engagement as well as community learning. So for undergraduate school, I went to Stony Brook, SUNY Stony Brook, so I'm a SUNY baby. So I teach at a SUNY school. I went to SUNY school, very proud to teach within the SUNY system. And there at Stony Brook, I studied, my major was liberal studies, and I minored in journalism. I decided I wanted to move to Los Angeles to try to pursue my writing career for television. So I packed up, I moved there, and I started writing there. I wrote on shows like Living Single, The Parenthood, Girlfriends. Then I switched over to drama, and I wrote for a show called Ed on NBC. I wrote for a show called MDs on ABC. I've written for Tyler Perry. I wrote for a show called Half and Half. So I had a lot of experience in sitcom and drama writing.
Professor Payton could have stopped there professionally, but she continued to build her foundation and share how she started teaching 20 years ago.
They needed somebody to teach writing courses, but for like sitcom writing and film writing, and so they asked me to fly up on the weekends and to teach this course. So that's when I started teaching. I would fly up, I'd work all week on my shows out there, and then I'd fly up on the weekend and I would teach a 3-hour course on how to write for television. And so that's when I first got the bug, because I actually really enjoyed teaching.
Professor Payton says she's always has to advise students going into the media field on what it takes to make it in such a competitive field.
So what I bring to the table, I feel, as a professor, is my know-how from currently working in the field and knowing what's expected of you and knowing what's expected of a new person coming into the field. So I feel like I'm able to speak to practically to those things.
She has several mentees on campus, and one of them, Amber Green, talks about her relationship with the professor.
I first met Professor Payton, my orientation, and since then, she's been an actual professor for me. She's been a mentor. She's just an overall great person, a great mentor, teacher, everything.
College students need special professors they can rely on. And it's safe to say Professor Lisa M. Payton is the perfect person for the job.
I seem to be inundated with students all the time, so I'm glad that I really love my students.
Alika Noble, OWTV News. Closing out a memorable Black History Month, producer Stanley Talibert brings us a piece featuring spoken word highlighting Black history, Black excellence, and Black achievement.
They have us on the plantation, on the fields where our seeds don't grow. I said I'm more than a cotton-picking, ball-spitting Negro, though. From generation to generation, we hid our pain, but our scars still show. Wash the blood of our ancestors in the tub of man's humiliation and degradation. Under the malice clause comes the compensation for your alienation. So that our history is written in the X-Files and a figment of idiotic imagination, putting emphasis on your externalized hatred. But you say you understand my pain. We have a chapter in your textbooks, but you ain't build a nation off of punctuation. Putting a period at the end of our life sentence, a comma to separate our independence and say, hey, but you're black, so we don't get the same treatment. Will I exclaim my pain of my brothers and sisters getting slain, deep-rooted in their mind, twisted illusions that they are forgetting that they are being detained. Those silver bracelets are being wasted on those who were never given a chance for a boy to be a boy before he becomes a man, for a girl to be a girl before he asks for her hand, for us to see that we are still royalty despite their underlying plan. They try to divide us, so we don't add to each other's greatness. Subtract our value so it's easier for domination. Tell us that we're only here for multiplication and produce more workers for their enslavement in this red, white, and blue American nation. Sorry, I have a slight stutter. To all my sisters, I ask that you stand and repeat after me. I am no longer a queen. I am an empress. To all my brothers, I ask that you do the same. Repeat after me. I am no longer a king. I am an emperor of many things. And in unison, we are still royalty.
The semester is far from over. Here are some upcoming events happening in March. On March 29th, come out to see the men's baseball doubleheader against Southern Vermont College at the Jackie Robinson's Athletic Center. Join Women in Math on March 14th as they discuss how women have come far in math. On March 25th and 26th, visit the art exhibit, The Crisis in Central America, in the Amila Wallace Gallery. And on March 29th, come out and cheer on the girls softball team doubleheader against Yeshiva University in the Jackie Robinson Complex Center. That's it for our show today. I'm Saborne Judge.
And I'm Malika Noble. And from the entire OWTV team, see you in March.